It's another Saturday. Thanks for staying tuned to your station, the Africa Independent Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. My name still remains Patrick Abambu. Today, it's so to say, continuation of what we started last week, but now with maybe more positive communication with you, because the event that we talked about, the much talked about National Security Summit on pastoralists and herdsmen and farmers clashes had been done. And the aftermath of that summit is what we'll be looking at. What is next? What should be done? Who is going to play whatever role? We'll be looking at it on this program today. But first and foremost, let's hear the, I should call him the chief convener, the man who gathered everybody together. Let's hear him talk about the summit. And then we come in to continue with my guest in the studio.
Welcome all you to the second edition of the National Security Summit on farmers, pastoralist clashes, kidnapping, banks insecurity, and other forms of violent crimes in Nigeria. Most of the people here today were present at the maiden edition of this National Security Summit last year, and your immense contribution form an integral part of the blueprints and strategies used by the Nigerian police force to steer the national security ship away from the stormy waters. Therefore, the importance of this gathering cannot be overemphasized, most especially at this period of our nation's growth and development. Viewing the postulated positive association of national security to peaceful coexistence and stability and growth generally, it is pertinent to note here that no nation can develop its full potentials socially, politically, and economically without adequate security, peace, law, and order. This postulation is aptly captured in our Constitution under Section 14(2)b, where it states that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. It is generally agreed that there has been a lot of improvement in our security since this government assumed power in 29th May 2015. The situation prior to that date is aptly captured by Leadership Newspaper editorial of Saturday, 11th May 2013. I quote,
was the Inspector General of Police, IGP Ibrahim Botum Idris, talking, welcoming participants to the summit. Here in the studio already with me, it's last week I had him in the studio. He's the Secretary of the National Council of Traditional Rulers in Nigeria. My brother, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, and the First Public Relations Officer, the man who speaks for the police, talking about CSP Jimo Ibrahim. We'll be looking at the aftermath of the summit. You're welcome, Jimo.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, if you can join us in this discussion by making use of our social media platform, the Facebook fan page, communicate to us, ask questions so that we can take it up with you and ask maybe there are particular issues you want them to take on, or our Twitter can tweet to us so that we can communicate with you, or send an email so that we can also read it, because this is a participatory program and we must get you all involved in what we are doing, because security is everybody's business. That is one part that came up from that meeting. Yeah, Pierre, let me start with you. Would you say that the essence of gathering people for this summit was met?
Yes. For the purpose of who are listening to us, and for those who are not here that will hear from people, it was a huge success for the force. And for our partner to the Traditional Ruler Council of Nigeria and the leadership newspaper groups, and for all stakeholders that play one role or the other in ensuring that the summit was a success. I equally want to significantly mention the retired police officers of Nigeria. You know, they have an umbrella body, 2 retired Inspector General of Police, and so many other retired Deputy Inspector General of Police who are there at the summit, and they made valuable contribution. The essence of the summit is to garner ideas for people to bring in their weight of experience in the area that we are focusing on, especially this issue of violence between farmer and the herdsmen that has dovetailing into another crisis in some part of this country. So to a large extent, the summit was a huge success for us. The summits actually have been rounded up, but the committee on communique are working now to come up with implementation structures of everything that have been put together during the course of the summit. I want to start by saying that the Inspector General of Police, on his behalf, have directed that she express his appreciation to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, for this opportunity to allow us to do the summit and for everything he has supported us with in the course of the summit. You know, the Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Ambassador, CFR, PhD, was there to stand in for the President. And all these critical people that were people who are interested in the summit. That's to tell you that the Inspector General of Police IGP Ibrahim Idris, his concept of people's engagement actually is working out, because from far and near, from Sokoto to Calabar, from Lagos to Maiduguri, everybody assembled and they make contribution, which we are working on now. And with this, we are going to have less and less crisis and conflict between farmers and herdsmen, because even the Nayati Allah, the farmers, everybody were there. The royal father, who are the custodians of our culture, who are the people that we rely on when you have issue, because most of the time, traditional rulers play important role in ensuring that people are law-abiding and people are peaceful in the society. So our summit was a success. And you know, there's a second summit, it's a yearly event, and we look forward to that of next year. Inshallah, it will be a great success. So I will not end up by if you are not allowing me to thank the people that have come in by sponsoring us, contributing one way or the other, sacrificing time and energy, and even traveling so far to come and attend the summit. So the Inspector General of Police wish them successful journey and safety back to their various destinations. Thank you.
In fact, on the screen it's snippet of what's happened there. I'm sure you saw it. To what extent would you say that the participation of the Traditional Rulers Council and the traditional rulers individually contributed to this success of the summit?
Well, first and foremost, we want to give glory to God that a seed that was planted has actually germinated. We want to thank the IG because he gave us a listening ear, like I said during the last program. Yes, the traditional ruler, if you watch the presentations that were made, I'm happy to know that most of the paper that were presented that really talk about the core issue, the history of Nigeria, what is bringing the crisis, and how the crisis should be managed, and how it can be leap in the bud, were all presented by notable traditional rulers. Like Professor Sani Nuga presented a paper dealing on the history of the crisis between the Fulani herdsmen and the farmers. And that paper was actually circulated. And the other areas, the participation of our main, the real creme de la creme of traditional rulers in Nigeria shows the extent to which the council hold the security issues in Nigeria. You could imagine the two co-chairmen were there. All the state chairmen, notable traditional rulers in the north, in the south, in the west are all there. And most of them presented papers. Those that were not given the opportunity to present paper discussed the papers from the discussant point of view. So I would say that to a larger extent, the members of the council really participated to ensure that the success of the
summit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me come to you, Jimo. Now, Nigerians are aware of the crisis, which is this incessant clashes between farmers and herdsmen, from the summit, we have had a lot of views being expressed. Some had actually called for that the solution for this is ranching. Some have said, listen, we may have to close our borders. The representative of Mr. President did talk about the issue about the migration issue, free movement, helping this. What is the police doing in this regard? Because at least from this summit now, what powers would the police be having now to ensure that these people that are crossing the borders, if those are the people, how can they be stopped?
Thank you so much. The police don't work in isolation. In the internal security setup, the police is the lead agency, and we work under a government. And those issues you are talking about have to do with policy of government, which we believe with the submissions of the outcome of the summit, the government will see the need to implement all the point raised in the submission paper. Because when you look at our borders, we have the immigration, we have the custom, we are working together within synergy. And you know, even in the police force, we have effective border patrol police detachment that work with this other agency. So of those issues that have to do with protocols of free movement within ECOWAS and that are now causing some problems, because discovered that people, even traditional rulers, I want to mention them, raised it in the summit, that people come from far away as far as Mali, the headsmen, and comes into Nigeria and cause mayhem and go back. So all these have been addressed. But the significant thing to note is that the summit outcome is going to be presented to Mr. President by the summit, and when it is presented, we are very hopeful that it will be implemented so that we can address those areas. Then why it's important to have the traditional rulers, because they are the custodian of our culture, they are custodian of the people. And you know, part of what the IG said is that we shall respect diversity and display courage, so compassion. That diversity in the culture of the people, because we police by culture, the culture of the people determine how you draw out police strategies and action plan in policing them. And the time without number, the IGP has impressed it on the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zonal Command and Commissioner of Police in charge of various states to ensure that they work in line with this diversity to ensure that there's peace. So the summit paper will be fully utilized within the force, because it's going to form a framework for us to implement the action plan of the Inspector General of Police, because this action plan is run into what we call the short term, the mid-term, and the long run action plan, which are currently being implemented. So when you look at the summit itself, apart from the traditional ruler council, the people who suffer collateral damage, why I call it there, who are the people, because when you have clashes between some certain people, some multiplier effect will be felt by other people around them. So with this, I think this is a milestone. This is a very great achievement under the leadership of the Inspector General of Police, IGP Ibrahim Putu Idris, and we'll see more of this. But before I go into other questions you asked me, I want to say that the IGP equally directed me that we should express his appreciation and profound gratitude to the chairman of the summit, that's His Eminence Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar CFA MA9, the Sultan of Sokoto. We should equally the honor of Ife, His Imperial Majesty Oba Enitan Adeyeye Ogun Uwuse, the Oba and the honor of Ife, for his present, all of them are present. Equally, we have the Obi of Onitsha, His Royal Majesty Igwe Hinemeka Achebe, CFR, who equally was part of the discussant in the summit. Then we have the special thanks to Esunupe, His Royal Highness Alhaji Dr. Yaya Abubakar CFR, and other critical stakeholders. Like I don't want to turn this to an advert so that you don't charge me. People like the First Bank of Nigeria, the Diamond Bank, and the Diamond Communication.
Yes, because they were fully there.
We greatly, the media generally, from that communication, the NTA, the channels, the CTV, the Liberty TV, all radio station, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, all of them give us a radio support, and it was widely circulated. You know, apart from the outcome of the summit was going on, there a lot of practical improvement in the operation or capability of Nigerian police force, which was exhibited. We have rappelling to rescue operation that was demonstrated by our special forces. And these are forces that have been trained abroad. These are forces that are making significant impacts. In trouble spot, they have been deployed. And that is why you see most of these crises in those flashpoints have gone down to zero level. So Nigerians across the country have been appreciating the effort of the Inspector General of Police, and they are wishing to do more. In discharging his responsibility, he has said that he will not stop at nothing to ensure that every Nigerian is safe in our homes and in our office.
All right. Yeah, I just have a mail here from Osita Ifeanyi. He said, I appreciate this program so well. I'm happy that I tuned in to watch it. Praise to the power system. Okay. Yeah, he's also talking about the content of the summit. I followed it on television, and I must point out here that would like the implementation to be done. Yes, I think from what this guy said, let me come to you. One of the traditional rulers actually pointed out, I think the guy from Owa in Delta State pointed out the issue that as they are going back, their people are definitely going to ask them questions, which is feedback mechanism. I know that, like he said, the communique committee, they are working to come up with communique. But what did you think that people who went back, who participated, those traditional rulers, those who participated will have gone back with? Is there any hope that this problem, this crisis will soon stop?
Yeah. One thing for sure is that the program was opened. That is, the summit was clearly open. Everybody was allowed to say his mind. And that is the problem that has always made things not to work. You don't allow people to say their mind. I'm happy that most of the quotes, either for or against the crisis, are those that emanated from the royal fathers. That is to tell you the level of which they have felt the pain, because they are the ones at the receiving end. So much pain. They are the ones at the receiving end. It is their people that are being killed, and to some others, it is their people that are killing other people. So what Obiowa said was noted. Like before we even approach the IG from the council level, there is a recommendation on our part, that is at the Traditional Rulers Council level, which we have already submitted to the IG. What we are only looking up to is when we submit the final report of the summit. It's not a communique per se, it's a report. The final report of the summit, we expect that the government, not the IG now, because the IG may not have his own way. He will still submit to Mr. President, who will direct. We were happy that the Minister of Interior was sent in, being in charge of all the security arms of government. We expect that he has listened, he has heard, and he has gone home. By now, he would have been thinking and preparing his mind about what type of report he will be getting from us. And I'm sure the type of crop of people that were put together to come up with this report, they are going to give us a report that, if implemented, will definitely ensure that there will be no crisis in Nigeria.
Let me ask you this direct, because a lot of Nigerians, some people with sentiment, feel that this crisis became more serious when this present government came into power, and because this president is a Fulani man, and it seems that he's allowing his people to go on rampage and kill people. You are from the roots, you are from the Traditional Rulers Council. Are you people looking at it from that angle? What is the situation? What reports will Nigerians take now?
Yeah, I'm happy. I would like to, he said the PRO refused to quote names, but I would like to quote from a name, and I want to mention that name. The Ata Igala, in his speech, said that they have lived with the Fulani men, the Nigerian, in quote now, the Nigeria Fulani men, and they know that the Fulani man in Nigeria is peaceful. That there are people, Fulani men, on semblance. I look like a Fulani man. Ordinarily, I'm not a Fulani man. I'm not even from the north. But then, the Fulani man, the one you see that now caused this rampage, are those that cannot even speak any type of language in Nigeria.
They are called the laborers.
They don't even speak the Nigeria Fulani language. So, they call them the laborers.
Yes. And
those are the ones that are killing people.
But somebody hires them to
attack. That is the area I'm coming into. Yes. When the Mieti Alama was talking, he explained that they have approached the Nigeria police, they have approached the security agencies. And they said, look, we need protection. A single Fulani man in the bush has millions in worth of cow that he has around him. And people were not taking advantage because they don't have protection. They go into the bush, they now bring these people in. But the problem is that when you start something, you lose control of that thing.
Exactly.
So what is now happening is like a boy you brought up now refuse to obey you anymore. So the Nigeria Supreme Council, the National Council of Traditional Rulers has actually put some mechanism in place to checkmate these things. We are working with the Miyetti Allah, we are working with the Nigeria Farmers Association to ensure that certain levels of people that goes around, either as herdsmen or as farmer to rustle cattle or as headmen to kill farmer, are prevented. Okay. And we are definitely...
Okay, I think that will bring me to Jimo now, because these are the issues that are for police to look into. Yes, the police lost an assistant commissioner of police in Delta State, and from also the preliminary reports, these are Fulani people that are attacked, and thank God that the police in Delta has reacted to it.
The herdsmen.
The herdsmen.
No,
because where I'm coming to is that there seems to be two different herdsmen and some who are outright criminals.
Let's get it straight.
Okay.
Even when His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, was talking, he said a criminal is a criminal. Herdsmen, whether Fulani, whether Yoruba, whether Hausa, whether Igbo, a criminal is a criminal. By the time we start giving them a name, we are trying to water down what they have done.
Yes.
A criminal is a criminal. You don't politicize criminality.
Okay.
And that is what we want the mind of the people to bear. You don't give somebody name. If somebody is an armed robber now, you say Yoruba armed robber, Igbo armed robber, or Hausa armed robber.
Crime doesn't have a tribe.
It doesn't have boundary. It doesn't have tribe. It doesn't have race. A criminal is a criminal and should be treated as such. And in the minds of the people, we want them to know we are doing our best, and that is why this summit is coming up, to let in people into what we are doing, and for them to bring in their contribution into it. You agree with me that when the idea stand up with the community engagement, the Eminent Persons Forum, which have been working across the country, those people that kill our policemen, the police officer, Assistant Commissioner of Police, may so rest in peace, a very senior officer of their cadre, and we have made 5 arrests now who are directly responsible. And we are investigating the remote and the direct causes of it. It is until when we do that we can come up with a press release and a press statement on what has happened, because you don't rush to the press when you have not clearly get thoroughly with the preliminary investigation you are doing to know who is responsible and who play what role and how. Because offenses are started at enforcing by some people, completed by some people, and even after the completion of the offense, some people say hide those who committed the offense. Everybody that is involved in the killing of this Assistant Commissioner of Police will be brought to justice. Right. I want to assure you. Okay. Then I want to quickly say that if you permit me, when we have, after mentioned traditional rulers, the excellencies, the governors, 36 state governors, and the Minister FCT, all of them are representative, and it's important we acknowledge them. And you call that honorable ministers who are equally the same representative. We thank all of them. We equally thank the organized private sectors, the farmers and the herdsmen's representatives, the women group. You see that the women representatives are equally tough, because women are the people that suffer most, because they are in the group of women and children who are exposed to a lot of risk. Even if the men go to fight, whatever that happen eventually come back to the brunt of it all. So we thank all of them, and including those the intellectuals, those who form of the faculty, the resource person, and people that have contributed one way or the other to make the summit a huge success. We thank them. So having said this, Nigerians should bear their mind, and a criminal is a criminal. Okay. So at our own level, they are suspect. When we get them to court, they face the wrath of the law. Then the necessary thing will be done about them in court.
All right, because we are getting signal to leave, other programs will continue. But Nigerians would like to have timeline, for instance. When do you think we can start getting the positive effect of this summit?
No, you are getting it immediately, because apart from even waiting for the submission of the summit to be passed to government, the impact is already being felt. Okay. That it's not business as usual. If you are used to violence, you are going to get violent. Okay. Because the long arm of the law will catch up with you, and you are going to be prosecuted, and in turn you receive your own violence too. But the bottom line is that the summit is a landmark around this point in time for people to know that really everybody in Nigeria and all the traditional rulers from all the 6 geopolitical zones in the country are present. The South-South, the Southwest, the South-East, the North-Central, the Northeast, and the Northwest. Everybody were present. We thank all of them for their contribution.
Yeah, from your perspective, as a person and from the council that you represent, are you going to serve here as how will I say, check to the police? Because even when the police don't respond quickly and you have to represent the people, are you going to act quickly to protect your people?
Yeah, definitely the council will do that because it's our people, it's our children. Yeah, so we tend to do that. But our appeal is that like we did yesterday, we appeal to the IG that the mechanism that has already been put in place by the traditional institution should be exploited by the Nigeria Police Force and the grassroots.
And I'm giving assurance on that we are key into that.
Yeah,
sure that it's workable.
I know a lot of issues. And on this program, this platform, we also cooperate with you, relate with you, so that we can, when things are not working, we should be able to tell it to the people and communicate properly on this. I know that we must leave for that program to continue, but first of all, let me thank you for joining us and for the success of the summit.
Okay,
thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
And please say us well to everybody that has come and going back. We'll keep on watching, and viewers are free to send us your comments or your view about it so that we can also continue to serve as checks and balances to whatever is happening.
If you allow me, lastly, the National Association of Nigerian Students, like
okay. All right. They are well represented. We noticed that and we saw that. We must thank you for staying tuned to your program as Security Watch Africa. Unfortunately, we have to go for that program. But next week, we promise you it is going to be more loaded than this. So make a date with us next week, Saturday, 12:30, so that we can give you that information you need to keep your life safe and secure. Until we come your way again next week, I would say bye for now and remain blessed.